if he goes back, he has to buy them from like a greenhouse, where if they would let him build this summer, go to Soil and Water. public comment part of it. I believe Commissioner Byers won't be joining us this morning, so I'll go ahead and call the first one, Roger Hendrickson, and if you come up, please state your name in the mic.
I'm in here for Ditch 42, I'm on the board of Albury Township. I gotta turn it green. And, you know, we've had a lot of discussion, we've had a lot of meetings over it. And one of the reasons I am coming in, I know we, as the commissioners, you can go from payback from 5 years. If you want to, you can make it for 10 years. And some of these guys out there, it's going to be pretty costly. So if we do the repairs, I would like to see it go to a 10-year payback for the people that have to pay. And I got that part I wanted to ask about, and then I had some other questions that was brought up to me. Now, at one time, we were told that what was being proposed now was going to be 66,000, and now something in there happened. Now we're up to 75,000, so that's going to increase a little bit. There's going to be crop damage. Had been figured out at 1 acre, and now we're up to 4.4. And then there was going to be some work done where Carnes has a four-wheeler trail on his, and it seems to be due to the center pivot, the end gun on the center pivot, putting too much water out there. So I would like to see something where they can shut that off. And the bidding supposedly was going to be good through next spring. And now the bidding that we've had is through this fall. If it's not done this fall, then it's going to be rebid, and we all know how that will probably end up being costing more yet. So that's what I have to say, and thank you.
Thank you. Next I have, is it Marie Sturheim?
My mother pronounces it Morris.
Oh, okay.
Morris Durheim. I'm one of the property owners. Our families own that property under which this tile flows. It literally runs across our field. And Roger's correct, there is a center pivot irrigator out there. And the tile runs underneath that, and it's collapsing. There was a hole, and I invite you to come and take a look, and this failed. I provided you a letter with a bunch of stuff. I'm assuming you have a chance to read that. I won't spend a lot of time here other than this impacts me directly, and I don't like writing checks to pay for things, but in this case, I think it makes sense to not do that. We risk that tile failing, stop it. Either it erodes and creates a much larger problem in my field, or it stops working entirely, which discontinues the outlet for that watershed, which means a different channel will have to be created where the water goes, because water will go. And if that were to be the case, it will risk the access to our farmstead, because the driveway for our farmstead runs directly on the north edge of this lake. And the natural water, it appears if that overflows, it runs north across Arlene's, and I cite that in the letter. But I came to say I support, let's get it fixed.
Okay, thank you. Next is Greg Warner.
Yeah, it's Greg Warner. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
At the May 7th board meeting, an update was given on County Ditch 42. The information that was presented was supposed to be representative of what was presented at the town hall on March 25th. The numbers and the information don't align. We were told at the March 25th meeting that 1 acre of cropland would be destroyed while they installed the new tile system. The bid was at $66,000. We were told that was good for this spring, this fall, or next spring. The only caveat to that would be if it was done in the fall, if there was time, or next spring, there may be a fuel surcharge based on the price of the fuel at the time. There are 16 different entities or landowners on the assessment roll for County Ditch 42. At the March 25th meeting, the initial vote, there was 4 yeses, 2 nos, and 2 abstains. I hardly think 4 yes votes constitutes a consensus to have the repair done. If we look at ditch law 103.715 subdivision 4, if the landowners were going to petition for a repair, they need 26%. Those 4 landowners don't have 26%. Also on the May 7th meeting, there was a comparison made for the bid to repair back in the 1960s and the numbers today and how they sort of aligned. And this was with the 66,000. Now that we're at 70,000 plus, it's even higher. Back in the 60s, the board decided it was too expensive to repair, and they decided not to do the repair. Hopefully this board can come to that same conclusion. Thank you.
Delvin?
Okay, thank you for time here this morning on this issue. Some things that I want to discuss is this thing has been in place since 1917. It has been functioning relatively well since its original. There were some changes made in the 1980s to correct some things at that time. If we try to change this water flow to, as Mr. Warner expressed, to change it to go to the north, it's going to be even a huger expense. We're going to have to do engineering. We're going to have to, it's impossible, in my opinion, that the water would find its own natural way. So that means another ditch has to be presented again. Engineering expenses, digging expenses. It's going to turn out to be a lot more money than what this is proposed right now. Also, if we back up the water and close this off, it's going to have a huge impact on all the landowners to the north. There will be no drainage coming from that, so that will impact the Kramers, the Dairy Ridge land, Brad Thieland, all the way over to the Callahans. It will back up the water that far. So we need to continue on with this. So again, a huge impact to them. It's going to make some of their land inaccessible. The other potential is if this thing isn't repaired and it continues to collapse, what happens when there's a future hole gets blown into the existing tile and we drop in a piece of equipment? We drop a combine or a tractor down in there, that's another huge expense to those equipment operators, so it becomes a safety issue as well for that. I think we've all had numerous meetings about this, trying to work out a solution to it. I appreciate Mr. Warner for his passion on this as well, but the rest of us also have a problem with this as well. If we continue to back up the water and flood this thing out, it's been made a comment about this would be for the benefit of the wildlife. I'm there every day as my wife and I own the south end of Center Lake, the existing Center Lake. There's more than abundant of wildlife there now. We have geese that are nesting there, swans, numerous pheasants. My wife talks about every day when she goes to work, the pheasants she sees. There's plenty of deer population. So I think we have more than adequate as far as wildlife right there now. So in my opinion, we need to just move forward with this thing. It's certainly going to cause some expense to us as landowners, but I think it's the acres and benefit acres and the cost that we're going to have to spend is well worth the effort and time that we're going to spend. Again, as Mr. Hendrickson talked about, a 5-year or a 10-year, that we leave upon you. We would be appreciative if we could extend it out for an extended period of time, but if not, we'll have to bite the bullet and do it the way it is. So thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Next is Arlene and Bill.
We both went out and looked at where the ditch was and how the water was running. And we came to the conclusion that this ditch 42 does not benefit our property at all. The road is in between where the ditch is. It would have to wash out the road before it gets onto my land. It would have to wash out Durheim's driveway before it gets to my land. And the water runs, that is on my property, runs north and then east to Huntsman's Lake and nothing to do with Center Lake or Lake Felix. So we feel that this was, our percentage was really high and uncalled for. And they took the 40 acres and divided it by per acre, being I had 31 and Mark Melgren and Jen have 9. So their property would be flooded, but my property has nothing to do with their 9 acres or the ditch. And we feel that this was not our benefit at all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You ready? Okay. Good morning, and welcome to Todd County's Board of Commissioners regular board meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. The time is 9 a.m. All commissioners are present, along with the deputy auditor treasurer, the coordinator, except for Bob,
Yep, there you go.
for commissioners, and county attorney. We will now stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'll ask for if there's any corrections for the amendments for the agenda.
None known at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Noska, is there a second? Second. Second by Newman. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and carries. And we'll go into the consent items.
The consent items today, Madam Chair, are the meeting minute approval from May 7th, 2024, retirement of Assistant WIC nutritionist Mary Ray Haugen on 5/31/2024, hire heavy equipment operator Nicholas Brown, start date to be determined, a seasonal hire for Emily Olson, start date 5/22/2024, resignation of an eligibility worker Jessica Miller, 5/29/2024, hire of a deputy auditor treasurer Caitlin Welters, start date to be determined, a gambling permit for Ivy's Legacy Foundation, event to be held 10/26/2024, a gambling permit for Holy Family School, event to be held September 7, 2024. And Diamond Point, a one-day dance license for an event on 6/8/2024.
Okay, I have to ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Denny, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Jolene?
Good morning. The first item from the Auditor Treasurer's Office this morning is to approve the Commissioner warrants. The printouts have been sent for the Commissioner's review. Our recommendation is to approve the Commissioner warrants number 403215 through 403246 in the amount of $22,574.25, and regular format 58014 through 58066 in the amount of $187,134.11, for a total of $209,708.36.
Do I have a motion for the Commissioner warrants?
So moved.
Motion by Newman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. We have to do roll call.
Yes.
Any discussion? If not, we'll do roll call.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants. The background has been sent for your review. The recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Services Commissioner warrants 805345 through 805394, and regular of 711930 through 711988, for a total of $110,497.31.
I'll ask for a motion for the Health and Human Service Commission warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Denny, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item this morning is the Health and Human Services SSIS warrants. Again, that background has been sent for your review. The recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Services SSIS warrants, numbers 601272 through 601301, and 517844 through 517876, for a total of $163,915.29.
Okay. I'd ask for a motion for the Health and Human Services SSIS warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Nazca. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Thank you. The last item that our office is to bring forward this morning is the Freedom and Heroes Veteran Fundraiser Rental Fee Waiver Request. So the American Legion Riders Post 12 is hosting the Freedom and Heroes Veteran Fundraiser event at the Todd County Fairgrounds, and has signed a lease agreements for the days of May 31st, June 1, and June 2nd, 2024. This lessee is requesting a waiver of the rental fees for this fundraiser event, since this is a fundraiser for area veterans. The county board has waived the rental fees in prior years for this organization for their bike and trike rally events. So the rental deposit has been supplied according to the lease agreement terms. So your options are to waive the rental fees or do not waive the fees. The recommendation is to approve the waiver of the rental fees for the Freedom and Heroes Veteran Fundraiser event at the Todd County Fairgrounds for May 31st through June 2nd, 2024.
Okay. I ask for a motion for the Freedom and Heroes Veterans Fundraiser for the rental fees.
I'll move with option one, Madam Chair.
Okay. Motion by Newman for option one. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Nazca. Discussion? And option one would be, let's see, to waive the rental fees for this event. Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed and carries.
Thank you.
Todd County Fair.
I think I'm gonna take this one, Barb,
Okay.
for him. So our background is Todd County Fair Board is requesting extra time to set up and prepare for the Todd County Fair, June 27th to June 30th, 2024. Would be appreciated additional access to the fairgrounds to start prepare for the setup the week of June 9th through 15th. Typically, they have access to the fairgrounds 1 week before the fair and 1 week after the fair. I guess the issue for this is the reasoning, because it's very hard to find people to help set up at the fair, and the people that are on the fair board, there's less and less every year that help. So allowing additional time allows them to adequately get everything set up. So my recommendation is to grant the additional access for June 9th through 15th, with waiving rental fees, utilities to be reimbursed from Todd County Fair Board.
Okay, you're hearing what Commissioner Naska said about the Todd County Fairgrounds. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, and that's for the full time from June 9th through, and waiving of the fees, correct?
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Newman. Discussion. Jolene, is there anything else going on at the fairgrounds during that time? There's nothing booked, is there?
No, we've had discussion in our office to ensure this week would not interfere with any other events.
Okay,
Yes, Commissioner Becker, I spoke with Denise also. We usually try to leave the fairground open for Prairie Days, so we tried to put it right after that, so they have option to use it if there's inclement weather. So hopefully that works out.
okay. And I believe I have a motion and discussion. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank you.
And then Public Works?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our one item on the agenda this morning for Public Works is the topic is the award of a construction contract for our 2024 bridge construction project. And I'll start with the background. This project is a bridge replacement project on County Road 14, just east of the city of Bravo over the Long Prairie River. This project we've been developing for a number of years, and we determined that with funding that we could get the funding this year and then go out for bids. And as you can see, unfortunately, due to conditions within the bidding market, we only received one bid. The bid came in at $1.75 million. Our estimate at that time, or at the time of opening, was $1.3 million. Now, this estimate was a year old, so we're unsure of the current market because we didn't know what bids were at this time. But you can see that the estimate, the low bid came in at right around $400,000 more than the estimate. Could we scroll down to the item? If we can scroll down a little bit farther down to the bottom, can we zoom in at all, if possible? So you can see the top line there where we talk about the original engineer's estimate. The original engineer's estimate was right around the $1.3 million, with roughly $581,000 of state bridge bonds, or bridge money, or state money coming towards the project, with state aid construction dollars, or our project, or our side of the funds, paying for roughly $747,000. In contact with the state, if we went and awarded this bridge at the low bid amount of $1.75 million, we would get an additional $182,000 of bridge bond money to help fund the project, but it would cost Todd County state aid construction dollars an additional $245,000. So our options in front of the board at this time is to award the bridge, or potentially reject the bids and go out for bids next year. Things to consider about that is this truly the market? It's tough to tell with one bidder, but if we do go out for bids next year, will the bids come in lower? I don't know. As of this right now, doing a bridge of this size, of this magnitude, we currently don't have the staff right now to inspect it because you have to have certain qualifications. And those qualifications left when Carl Pung retired recently this year. He was our inspector for this project. Carl Pung has verbally agreed, hinted that potentially he might be interested in coming back and helping us through this process, obviously at a cost to the county. which would be a lot cheaper than us going out and getting a consultant. They're quite expensive, so we save money there. I don't know what Carl's future is gonna be, you know, a year from now down the road. So, and currently we have the money, we have the permits, we're ready to go, we have a contractor that can deliver the project. So it's kind of a mixed bag of different things to consider. That's why we brought it up for the board's consideration here, whether to award or reject and go back for bids.
Do you have any questions for Lauren?
I do. I
Okay.
have one. So Lauren, I know you hinted at it, but, and we all know that with inflation the way it is, the prices aren't going down for things. And I understand we're over budget, but is it, in your opinion, is it next year? It's probably gonna come in at 1,757,000 or more. I mean, I'm just, you know, it's, and was there only one bid that came back? Was the reason because the other people are too busy, can't do it, or they don't want to?
That's a great, if I may comment on that, Commissioner Noska. Typically in this area, we see three contractors that bid this type of work in this area. One being Redstone Construction, which received the bid. One, Robert R. Schroeder Construction out of Glenwood, and the other is Structural Specialties at Hutchinson. I called the other two, and they're full. And they already talked about bidding and getting full for next year as well. So this really fit well with Redstone Construction, as they really only needed one more project to fill out the year, and they really hoped that they could get it because they're in the area. Talking to other counties, they've already are starting to develop projects and getting them out for bid for next year already. So the risk is there to reject bids. It might come in higher, it might come in a little lower. I
And
don't
Redstone
know.
knows they're the only bidder.
You don't know what the market is, yeah. If we had one more bidder, obviously we don't know what it is.
Right,
So
right,
that's the true issue with this.
got it.
It's not truly black and white. I wish it was.
Okay, any further discussion? Otherwise, I'd ask for a motion.
You said that the funds are available, we do have the funding available?
I've
even
talked
though-
to the state, individuals at the state, and that additional bridge money is still there.
Okay.
And 99% mostly we would get that additional funding. If something changes,
We have the funding to cover the rest available?
absolutely we do.
Okay.
We always maintain a balance in our state aid construction account to cover situations like this.
Yeah, and we gotta remember that ours was just an estimate as well,
And it was a year old.
a year-old estimate, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve it.
Okay, I have a motion from Nazca for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Denny. Further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries.
All right, thank you.
You. And with that, Nancy, ditch 42. Good morning.
So I have one agenda item this morning. It's the County Ditch 42 tile repair. Background, I've got the County Ditch 42 inspection report, project overview, updated ag tech drainage quote, and the assessment example. And I will go through those before reading the recommendation. You can scroll down to the first one. So this one I had brought to the first original work session that we did. So I'm only gonna go over what was new. So on the second page, under the September 12th, when I was notified of the tile outlet in the fields lake being washed out, we put a 36-inch CMP that was sleeved over the existing 24-inch concrete tile and was cemented in place. So that existing concrete corrugated metal pipe that's there right now is actually a 36-inch pipe, not a 24-inch pipe, because we had to sleeve over the 24-inch pipe. The ditch inspection completed. The tile line between Center Lake and Felix Lake that was determined to be failing in 1987 continues to fail, causing sinkholes in parcel 2100222801. And the backup of water is causing erosion around the DNR control structure on Center Lake. Kind of outlining the meetings that have been held. May 22nd, 2003, we had an informational meeting. Landowners were not in agreement of what should be done, and they indicated that to myself that they would have their own meetings, and then they would let the ditch authority know how they want to proceed. There were multiple landowners meetings held at Round Prairie Township. These were not facilitated by the ditch authority, they were facilitated by the landowners. I did not attend all of those because they were not facilitated by the ditch authority. I attended several of those meetings to answer questions and to present additional estimates. And then I brought this to the ditch authority at a work session and at one board meeting. Let's scroll down to the next page. Sorry. Am I loud enough to hear that already though? Okay, if you can scroll on to the next page. So this is just a picture of the outlet into Felix Lake. That's what the structure looked like when it was installed. It had fabric on it to hold the soil and stuff on it when we installed it. You can scroll down to the next one. The only thing that was added new here was the paragraph under the picture there, the water going around the DNR control structure at the outlet. Because of the drought, there was no water. The second picture that's down there, if you want to scroll to that next picture. So this is the actual outlet structure. You can see where that post is. There's a hole there. So the water, when it gets high enough, is not going through the outlet structure. It's actually circling and going down into that hole. And then it's working its way in. And I'm not sure if it's actually going through the corrugated metal pipe or if it's going around the corrugated metal pipe. That's added onto that structure. And the next page, the new there, after the MBC drainage estimate, that estimate was too high. At one of the landowner meetings, Ag Tech Drainage was brought up as another another company that would do the bid. So I contacted Ag Tech Drainage. The first bids they gave me was for various lengths of tile, 80 feet to the entire length of the ditch being done. At additional landowner meetings, the scope of the project kept evolving. After we found out that the DNR does have a permanent easement to the control structure, then we decided that we would not touch the control structure. We would let the DNR deal with that, and we'd only deal with the tile. So then on 5/13/2024, I got the final quote from Ag Tech Drainage. Their quotes are good for 30 days. And we exceeded the 30 days multiple times by asking them to rebid and rebid and rebid. So on 5/13, we actually went out there and took a look at it. The first time that we were out there, we looked at the Center Lake side. I wanted him to see the Felix Lake side. So on the updated quote, the 24-inch dual wall tile, the 1,680 feet, the $33.58 per foot. It's the same they had before. The erosion control fabric is new because the landowner expressed that they wanted their ATV road that was going to be crossed to have fabric on it, and then to replace the fabric that's on that outlet structure already to keep that stable. I had two 24-inch connections originally. They changed it from one 24-inch connection to a 36-inch connection to attached to the Felix Lake structure. The 24-inch inspection pipe at the halfway point, mobilization to cut cap and bury the inspection pipe. There is electricity out there that goes to their pivot, so that's gonna have to be cut to run the pipe. So he gave me an estimate on repairing that electrical. And then right at the outlet, when you saw the picture where you've got the fabric on that outlet structure, it gets really tight in there. To get the new pipe in there, there's probably gonna have to be about 100 feet removed of the old tile to get that pipe to fit in there. So that old tile would be hauled away and disposed of. So that was the new updated estimate for that. So let me make sure I'm covering all this up. So they would require a 120-foot wide working area. When I talked to him at first, he said something about an acre. So at the landowner meeting, I did say that was about an acre, and it was brought up that that didn't seem like the right number, and I said I would have to verify what that number would be, because that didn't seem correct for the measurement. So there was gonna be required 120-foot working width for the tile installation. So that's the pipe. We'll only be charged for the actual footage installed, because there was 200 feet of the pipe put in by the DNR the footage may not be the full 1,680 feet. It may be less than that. So they will only charge us for the actual footage installed. So we got the connections. I'm already up on that next, on my overview, if you want to scroll up to there. Oh, stop right there a second. Okay, so just kind of, this was the other new stuff that was added was 8/16 of 2022 was presented at a work session. 5/22 of 2023 was our first informational meeting. The reason there was such a gap in there is because I was on a leave for a period of time, so we didn't have the meeting at that time. January 2024, I presented at work session. May 2024, informational item at a board meeting, and then today is for the board agenda for the decision. So that was on it. So then you can scroll down to the next one. Okay, so the electrical wiring, the Felix-like structure, so the erosion control fabric. So I had asked him, Ag Tech Drainage, before that last Round Prairie Township meeting, if he would honor that bid for, if he'd still honor that bid, and he said that he would, yes, for spring. He didn't really give me a clear answer on fall, and I can't remember what I exactly said at the meeting. Someone asked me about fall, and I said that they may, but that was not told to me by Ag Tech. And so when I talked to him last, he said that if it was done this fall, there would be an increase that would likely exceed the crop damage. They bid it as low as they did so they could do it during their downtime. So that's why they gave us such a good price on it. So that would mean be going through crop. So the 120-foot working width, 1,600 feet long is what actually crosses the field. So that would be 4.41 acres. FSA, I checked with them on their state price for the corn, and that's $4.40 per bushel. This irrigated land produces the 220 bushels per acre. So that's 4.41 acres times 220 bushels an acre, $4.40 per bushel. So that's $4,268.66 to reimburse for crop damage. So with the updated quote from Ag Tech Drainage of that $63,122.40, there are $4,113.45 of existing expenses. The tile inspection after the install, the maximum price was $2,300. It could be less than that, depending on how much time it takes them. And then the damages for the corn, the $4,268.88. So that total comes to $73,804.73. That doesn't include any ditch inspector fees that may occur while the project's being done, and if we have to get the attorneys involved again, that would be also extra. And then the ditch authority may order a repair without a petition under 103E 705 if the cost of the repair does not exceed $175,000 in 1 year. So we are not following 715, we are following 705. I delayed bringing this to the board because Arlene Brinkman had not decided if she was going to submit a petition to ask for her property to be removed from the assessment roll. I was told after the last Round Prairie meeting by Arlene that she was no longer going to be asking to remove her property from the assessment roll. So I guess I need to know, are you planning on submitting a petition to remove your property from the assessment roll? Okay, so I was delaying all this, waiting for you to decide if you wanted to submit your petition to be removed. And you told me after the last Round Prairie Township meeting that you were not gonna submit a petition to remove your property.
Right.
So I just need to know, are you submitting a petition to remove your property?
Right, I wasn't at the meeting because I was at work. And then the meeting before, I was at work.
Correct, but so are you intending to submit a petition to remove your property?
Correct. We will proceed to get an attorney and get our name removed from the property. So
Okay.
We talked about that.
Okay, so you are going to move forward with that now?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I was holding off on bringing this for a decision, was for that reason.
So how does that affect our decision today? Do we have to wait until you receive a petition, or
So-
what's the?
If we make a decision today, her property will still be responsible for the expenses because she's still on the assessment roll. So that's how it would change, because that's why I waited to move ahead, because she said she wasn't going to submit it.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah, so my question is, you know, how long does that take to get that process done for her?
We're gonna
Because
have
if-
to have a hearing.
Right, so if she's successful in removing her property, it would change what the other properties pay.
Correct.
And which may not, if you divide it up between, what is it, 14 properties current? Or how many are on there?
You
16,
have the
I think.
assessment roll. That was in the packet.
It's in the packet. Okay.
Yep.
I'll just scroll down, sorry.
It was I've got that other, I can move to that one too, because at the last work session, I did send, our last board meeting, actually, I did send, the assessment roll showing with her property and without her property.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking, you know, I'd like to see that happen, but I don't want to see these bids keep going up either every time that we keep looking at it. You know, if she's not getting any benefit, I'd like to see her be able to not be on the assessment roll, but at some point, it's gonna keep making it cost more for everyone else that's working on it.
So if she asks to be removed, she's gonna have to pay all of the fees incurred with that, including the attorney fees for the hearing. And she'll have to have engineering showing that she's not getting benefit from the ditch.
And that's quite spendy as well, is it not?
Yeah. But those costs would all be incurred by her, not by the ditch
Right.
system.
Right. And we can't change anything after the fact if she is deemed not benefiting from it.
I don't believe we can if she has not been determined it's being removed from the assessment roll.
Okay. And her total cost would be 4,719 if I can,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, Arlene, that's gonna cost you a lot more than $4,000 to
To
get an
be-
attorney and to get off this assessment roll. I mean, I'm sorry, I feel like it would be, that's just my opinion. I don't know if correct me if I'm wrong, but in your opinion, to have another hearing and
The reason that her parcel was put on the assessment roll to start with, from my understanding, is that the water would go across the road and go on her property. And so when they built the ditch system, it drained all that water off of her property
oh, it kept it from going to her
and kept it from
property.
going to her property, which was why her benefit
Even though
amount
she may not
was
be
so
getting
high.
any drainage from it, she's not getting the water diverted to her
Correct,
property.
yes. And that's why they gave her such a high, and plus, anybody that was around the lake, their properties were given a higher benefit amount from reclaimed lake
Okay,
bed. And so her property was one that had the reclaimed lake bed, so that's why the dollar amount was as high as it was on her property.
okay.
Nancy, my question too is the years of payback. It was brought up this morning, so how does that affect, or what is it right now?
So historically, the board has done 5-year and they've done a 10-year. Ditch 18, we had I believe it was over $200,000 on ditch 18. Well, actually, it was more than that because it was a $300,000, close to $300,000, and you did a 10-year payback on that. All the other projects we've done at a 5-year payback. And so there are several landowners that are gonna have a very large amount. So it was asked if that could be at a longer payback period so they wouldn't have as much of a burden each year on their special assessments. So it's the board that decides that. You guys decide the payback period, you guys decide the interest rate, you decide all of that. And historically, you've done both ways. You've done a 5-year and you've done a 10-year.
Interest rate goes on current,
You know, that's not what we
Our
did
current
last.
resolution, Madam Chair, of record is 2%.
2%. Okay.
Oh.
Any other questions, commissioners?
No, if we were doing a project like this through the Sauk River watershed, you're looking at probably close to $500,000.
Yeah.
Easily. Because you do a redetermination of benefits, you would hire an engineer and do the whole system. You wouldn't just be doing this small section. So this is the cheapest way to go
Yeah.
to fix this ditch that hasn't been in repair for 35 years.
So I don't know, John, do you have I know you don't have ditch law with you right there. As far as if she submits a petition to do this after they approve a project, I don't know how that would be.
Madam Chair, the danger is that those landowners who have a set dollar amount
It would
assessment,
change.
they could argue that, no, the board has voted on this number and the county would have to eat any difference if we're locked into that figure. That's my concern.
So does
Madam
the-
Chair?
Yes.
One more question here.
Yeah,
So
by all
this is
means.
gonna be, the replacement is,
Yeah.
what's the life of the new structure? I mean, expected life,
years.
100 years expected life? I mean, if we do it now, hopefully we don't have to touch it again for 100 years. The county doesn't deal with it again, at least in this section.
Yeah, my only concern would be the legal aspects of it. And if we should wait, I mean, I hate to table it and bring it back next meeting, but we've got to have a yes or no, I think, from that landowner for us to be able to move forward. I mean, I'm fine with moving this forward, but the legal part of it, I'm hesitant about.
So to bring.
But yet, I mean, she's had enough time. We've been working on this for
2 years?
2 years. So what do we need, just something written from her, saying one way or the
Well,
other?
she had submitted a petition to me, and I didn't feel that she totally understood that she would be responsible for all the expenses. So I contacted her again and explained that she is responsible for all those expenses, and then waited for her to decide to contact me again if she wanted to go forward with it, and she had,
Can we
verbally
just
told me
take
she was
a
not.
5-minute break maybe right now? And maybe you should go back and visit with her. I think
Yeah,
that would be the
that's a good
best thing
idea,
to do
Barb.
at
Thank
this
you,
point.
yes. 5 minutes.
Yeah. Or until you get done discussing it, and so she understands what's going on.
It's a good idea,
You know,
Very
because,
good idea.
you know,
because it seems like
because
there
otherwise we gotta wait for
may be a little confusion here.
Right,
and our cost of it.
because the 4,000 would be cheaper.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Okay, so Arlene has decided that she does want to submit a petition. She is aware that she's responsible for all fees involving attorney fees, any hearings we have to have, and the fees that she's gonna have to pay to prove she does not get benefit. So she will be submitting a petition.
she will be submitting a petition?
Correct.
Okay, then with that, I think we have to table this at this time. And Nancy, can we put a length of time for her to do a petition or not? Being this has been going on for
2 years.
2 years already?
Yeah. And then, Mr. Chair, I will have to then schedule another hearing.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I don't think so.
okay.
I don't think that we can put a time limit on it. The procedure that, that binds Nancy is, I think, going to drive the bus.
Okay. With that, I don't need,
You can just table it.
I'll just table it then until we hear back from Nancy, and there'll be another hearing set and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
With that, we'll go into emergency management.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mike.
So I'm here to request to have the board support the intent of the public statewide, statewide public safety armor, which is Allied Radio Matrix System, which is the public safety trunking system for equipment grant. As you've seen in your packet, there is the grant request proposal. This is, these applications actually go out. So it's local units of government, federal recognized tribal entities, and state agencies to participate in the armor system. So there are a lot bidding for $4 million, and that's $2 million each year. So that's why the date of the grant is. And they're averaging that we might get about $40,000. That is equivalent to 8 public safety, fire, and EMS radios. So that would have to be distributed between all the cities if I were to, so I was looking at this because as doing this on behalf of the cities, so the cities, the fire departments could at least get maybe one new radio in there, and it go from there because law enforcement had another grant issued to them. That's why I was kind of looking at it, doing it this way. It's just kind of, it's not a lot of money. You know, we need to help our smaller fire departments to replace these very expensive radios. The other thing is it's a 5% match. So the 5% match is I will be sending a letter to the cities to get their intent. If they wish to participate, that they would be responsible for the 5%. And then the other portion of the basically a 95% would be covered by the grant. So what I'm asking today is for your support for the intent to support the statewide public safety radio communications armor equipment grant, to approve the county emergency management to move forward with preparation of this grant, or the Board of Commissioners not to agree to support the statewide public radio system equipment grant.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion for the statewide public radio communication system grant.
It is a mouthful.
I'll make a motion to support.
Okay, motion by Nazca. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll go Adam.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
My first item this morning is for CHS, their request for a conditional use permit. An application for CUP for a structure exceeding 100 feet in height on parcel 21-0007100 in Round Prairie Township was submitted on April 8th. It was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the May 2nd public hearing, and the final recommendation from the Planning Commission was to grant the CUP with the conditions below. Options are to grant the CUP with the proposed condition, develop findings and deny the CUP, or remand it back to the Planning Commission. And the recommendation is to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and grant the CUP on parcel 21-0007100, with just one condition, that the applicant abide by all other applicable federal, state, and local standards.
Okay, is there a motion for the CHS requested CUP?
So moved.
Motion by Newman, is there a second?
Okay. Tim got it.
Second. By Danny, discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, grant the cup with the proposed conditions. Number 1.
Okay. And then Danny had the second?
Yep.
Okay, discussion?
One quick question. Do they know the actual height, just out of,
Oh, yeah,
because exceeding 100, because I'm sure that's a limit, but I just, out of curiosity, what the actual.
it's 126. I can't remember off the top, but it's around that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. Thank you.
Okay, next is Levi A. Yoder, request for CUP, an application for a conditional use permit to establish a metal fabrication facility with retail sales on parcel 07002530 in Eagle Valley Township, submitted on April 4th. The application was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the May 2nd public hearing. The recommendation from the Planning Commission was to grant the CUP with the conditions below. Options are to grant the CUP with the conditions, develop findings and deny the CUP, or remand it back to the Planning Commission. Recommendation is to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and grant the CUP to parcel 07002530 with the following conditions. 1, that outdoor storage of products shall be allowed but shall be conducted in compliance with section 901B of the Todd County Planning and Zoning Ordinance. 2, the existing structure shall be re-permitted as a commercial structure. 3, there should be no loading or unloading of materials within the road right-of-way. And 4, the applicant must abide by all applicable federal, state, and local standards.
Okay. Is there a motion for the Yoder request for the CUP?
So moved.
Motion by Danny, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca, discussion?
What, did the township respond on this?
We didn't have any response from the township on this one. Eagle Valley is usually really good about participating in these things if they have concerns, and we did not have any comments from them on this one.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
All right, next is the Wolpert Amendment to CUP number 2017-001, an application for amendment to condition number 1 of CUP 2017-001 was submitted on April 8th. This was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the May 2nd public hearing. The final recommendation from the Planning Commission was to amend the condition as identified below. We'll talk about more options here in a second, but options are to grant the proposed amendment to condition number 1, develop findings and deny this amendment or remand it back to the Planning Commission. Recommendation is adopt the findings of the Planning Commission and grant the amendment to condition number 1 of CUP 2017-001 as to read as follows. Establishment of vegetative screening consisting of 2 rows of deciduous trees and 1 row of shrubs on the south, west, and north sides, and screening along the road right-of-way shall consist of 1 row of shrubs. Commissioner Becker, you had asked me to look at some additional options for this to keep Mike moving along with it. Besides options number 2 and 3 up there, I see really 3 options for approval today. Is 1 would be number 1, take the recommendation of the Planning Commission, so the condition would read as it shows on the screen there. 2, you could just remove the condition altogether. And 3, you could amend that condition to just require a single row of trees. Those really are the only 3 options, because in order to amend that condition, it has to be both parties, the county and the applicant or landowner, need to be in agreement on that. Obviously, this option here, Mike was I would say reluctantly in agreement with. It wasn't his primary option, but he was in agreement to it. Ultimately, his request was to remove it, but he also would allow just the single row of trees to be the condition. And I think we can allow that because we're working within the language of the existing condition as it reads now. I did call Mike and asked him to be here this morning. He just wasn't able to make it. So we're a little bit handcuffed in our options from there, but that's what I see as the options.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
Yes.
for discussion, has there been complaints about him on this one, or is this just something we reviewed and he hadn't had come into compliance? Is somebody?
Right, he had come to our office and wanted to build the second storage structure, which the original CUP was set up to do that. However, he hadn't met the strict language of that condition, so we couldn't issue that permit. So his options were to meet it or apply to amend it and then be able to build it. So that's how we
I
got
know
here now.
that's probably one of the nicer looking properties, as Barb mentioned, on County 21. So I mean, it's not, he's got it looking pretty nice there. I mean, I'd be okay with amending
okay.
to.
My other question is, if we amend this, can he build yet this year? Or does he have to wait until he gets the trees in next year before he could build?
That's gonna depend upon what's approved here today. If we approve it as you see up there, we would want to see all the trees planted that meet the requirements of the condition before we issue the permit. If we remove the condition altogether, we'll issue the permit as soon as he applies. Same with the other one of just editing the condition to say a single row of trees, they're already planted, we'd issue the permit right away. And I really would recommend that a condition continue to exist, even if it is just the single row of trees, because they're already planted. And if Mike sells that 10 years from now, that next owner is still on the hook to make sure those trees stay in place. So at a minimum, I think I would recommend at a minimum that condition remain, even if it is just the requirement of a single row of screening on what would be the south, west, and north side. He doesn't have any screening along the road at the moment. And the reason that the planning commission recommended shrubs along the road is because there's overhead power lines. So you gotta be careful about what trees you plant there anyway. So at a minimum, I'd recommend the condition say a single row of vegetative screening on the south, west, and north sides. And that screening already exists.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion for the Wolpert CUP.
I'll make a motion to amend to allow the CUP to continue with the one row of deciduous, it was deciduous
Yeah,
trees
you
or
can-
vegetative screening.
Yeah, that simplifies it, and that exists already. So I'll get that typed up.
Okay, we have a motion by Nazca. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Further discussion?
I have to agree with Lou, how nice that property is well kept. I mean, you drive by there, it's very clean and so.
And that's good advertisement to keep it clean like that and look, so people can see it from the road, to be honest with you.
Right.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries.
I'll get that updated and then up to you then. Okay. All right, next is the amendments to section 5.03, 505, and 506 of the Todd County Planning and Zoning Ordinance. Amendments to section 503, 506, or 503, 505, and 506 of the Planning and Zoning Ordinance have been reviewed by the Planning Commission during the April 4th Planning Commission public hearing and reviewed during the May 7th work session. Final draft is attached for adoption. The options are to adopt the amendments of those sections as presented, do not adopt, or remand it back to the Planning Commission for further consideration. Recommendation is to adopt the recommendation of the Planning Commission and adopt the changes to section 503, 505, and 506 as presented. And these are the same as what we reviewed last week in the work session, and the next sheet has the language there.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion for the amendments to the planning and zoning ordinances, 503, 505, and 506.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I attended the Douglas County Planning Commission. They do their variance at the same meeting, so they have a variance board and then planning commission, and then the chair switch hats. They make sure that the townships answer to whatever proposal there is, okay? Whether the township's there in person or by letter, whether they're okay with it or they're against it. So that's, I think, what we need to do. And it gets the townships more involved, because we approved one today and we didn't hear, but 2 years down the road, we could hear from the townships going,
Sure.
they're tearing up our road. Why'd you pass it?
Yep.
That's all I got.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Okay, the Mississippi Sartell One Watershed, One Plan grant application. State of Minnesota requires counties to develop comprehensive watershed management plans. The One Watershed, One Plan serves as a substitute to allow counties to work on a watershed basis. Todd County, along with partners, intend to submit a grant application to start the planning process for the Mississippi Sartell watershed. Stearns SWCD is serving as a project coordinator, will be submitting the grant application on behalf of the watershed. Options are to pass a resolution in support of the One Watershed, One Plan grant application, or to deny the resolution. Recommendation is to pass the resolution in support of the One Watershed, One Plan grant application to the Board of Water and Soil Resources.
Okay, and is there a motion for the Mississippi Sartell One Watershed, One Plant grant application?
I'll make a motion to support the resolution, or to pass the resolution of support of One Watershed, One Plan grant application.
Okay, I have a motion by Nosket. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
And I'll have this topic again in the near future to discuss the county's participation in the plan, but for now, we'll just
Yeah.
get the application submitted and see where that goes. Okay, lastly, is the request to hire the soil health position. I just wanted to note this was, I don't know if this makes any difference, but we had it under the planning and zoning section, but the board action does say soil and water, so this is a soil and water position. I just wanted to make that noted
Nancy
before we
Gage is
start
here
here.
now.
So the request is for the soil health position. Soil and Water has received grant funding to hire a new position to work with local producers on soil health practices and conservation planning. The position will be grant funded and stationed at the NRCS office. Position is has been reviewed by the Personnel Committee and presented at the May 7th work session. Options are to authorize the hiring of the soil health practitioner or do not authorize. Recommendation is authorization of hiring of the soil health practitioner.
Okay, is there a motion to hire the soil health position? And this is a soil and water position.
Right, yep.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nosket. Discussion.
Yes, Madam Chair, just let everybody know, this is a 3-year position, correct?
Right.
3 years on the grant?
Yeah, yep, completely grant funded, and when the grant runs out, if it's not
When grant runs out,
yep, it'll always be grant funded, and if the grant goes away, the position goes away.
okay.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Mike.
Good morning, Commissioners. Morning.
Morning.
Only item on the agenda for myself and my office is the hiring of Cole Youngbauer as an investigator position for our department. The background is this is a new position, and Cole will be the first person in this new investigator position. So we felt it was good to put this on a discussion instead of consent. Background is to hire Cole as an investigator for the position. Start date to be determined. Interview process was completed and Cole Youngbauer was selected as the best candidate for this position. The option is to hire investigator Youngbauer or not to, and our recommendation is to hire Cole Youngbauer as an investigator for the wage of $36.04, which is a grade 11, step 7.
Okay, is there a motion to hire Cole Youngbauer as the new investigator? And like Mike said, is coming to the board because it is a new position.
I'll make a motion to hire.
Motion by Noska, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Good morning.
Mike.
Morning.
How's everyone today?
Good.
Good. The first board action I have before you today is the purchase of walking floor trailers in support of our new facility establishing in 2025. Upon completion of the new transfer station, the solid waste department will be upgrading its operations from compaction containers to walking floor trailer systems. And after in-depth research, the department solicited 3 bids from manufacturers through the state bid process. North American Trailer, Mac Trailer Manufacturing of Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota was low bid at $123,149 per unit. Prairie Trailer of Morris was the second and third bid at $136,044.48 and the third at $137,402.76. This purchase was discussed at the Solid Waste Committee level. The department submitted an approved project budget in February 24. We budget $105,000 each for the trailer at that time. This equipment pricing does not reflect the cost of a tarping system, and we will receive them quote shortly. I did receive communication yesterday. It's looking at like roughly about $7,000 for a tarp system through the Sourcewell bid amount. So once I get concrete information on that, I will pass it on. Options is to award the bid to North American Trailer for 2 units in the amount of $246,298, or not to award the bid to North American Trailer. It is our recommendation is to award the bid for $246,298 to North American Trailer, and this is a budget item including the CAP grant funds and also along with the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund.
Okay, I've got just a question, Mike. Does it take a long time to get these trailers? Because we won't be really needing them until 2025, correct?
That is correct. They're roughly 6 months out. And the idea of having 2 of them on hand, we're probably gonna need four total trailers for the operation when we're fully operational. The only reason we'd like to do it now, we can use it for hauling some of our commodities. The second thing is we can use it for training in advance so drivers can understand how this operation works. And the other thing is it gives us a backup if our compactor system goes down. We have a way to manually load these trailers. Right now, if we do have a complication with our compactor, we have to basically just direct haul and to a different source. So this is a big advantage for us to get that, so.
Okay. With that, I'll ask for a motion for the purchase of the walk-in trailers. And I think the bid was from North American Trailer for 2 units.
I'll make the motion to award.
Motion by Denny, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Okay, the second item we have before you today is the purchase of a tractor, for the operation of this system. Again, we will be upgrading our operations from compaction type containers to walking floor systems. The semi-tractor with a 5th wheel kit and hydraulic wet kit will be required to operate our walking floor trailers. These units will haul our MSW to Perm and Little Falls daily. After in-depth research, the department solicited 2 bids from manufacturers through the state bid process. Boyer Truck of Rogers, Minnesota was the low bid at $147,350.00 for a Western Star 47X. Allstate Peterbilt was second at $182,562 for the model 567 Peterbilt. The department submitted an approved budget in February 2024, and we budgeted $190,000 for the semi-tractor. Options is to award the bid to Boyer Truck for the amount of $147,350, or do not award the bid to Boyer Truck. It is our recommendation to award the bid of $147,350 to Boyer Truck for a Western Star Model 47X.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion for the purchase of a semi-tractor from Boyers Trucking.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Okay, the last item I have before you is the Solid Waste Department Recycle Facility is preparing for the installation of our new XL auto baler system in July. In support of that system, we use 12 recycle bins to collect commodities in for staging to the baling process. These bins are 20-plus years old, are in need of repair, and are a safety concern as well. We received quotes to build new units at a cost of approximately $2,800 each from Protainer. And we also looked into reconditioning these units. We are able to get an estimate from G&S Fabrication in Long Prairie. They estimated a cost of $1,800 to $2,200 per unit. This cost is a maintenance budget item, and the department has set aside $7,000 for the last 2 years in anticipation of this expense. The cost has also been discussed among our committee level. Options are to approve the cost of refurbishing the recycle bins or do not approve the cost of the bins. It is our recommendation to approve the cost of refurbishing the recycle bins by G&S Fabrication. And this is a budgeted item.
Okay. Is there a motion for the repair of the recycle bins?
So moved.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you.
And if I could have just a brief minute of your time, we did have some pictures, if we can put them up here.
Oh, yeah.
Just a quick update of the facility. The first picture you see before us was taken on Friday morning, and that is the foundational subgrade. So they're close to having the facility subgrade done. You can see the short orange stakes towards the bottom. That's kind of the end of the building. So we're currently, basically, the subgrade is 2 grade for the building. So we're that far along on that phase of it. If you want to scroll to the next picture, that is the top northwest hill. That is the new road going down to the facility. So that's how that road's going to look. It's all ditched and it's already black topsoiled. So we're waiting to put class 5 on that yet, and then that'll be operational. So much improvement, and that is the northwest line, which we are anticipating non-seeding. So it's a big improvement for our compost facility on top. And the next picture is the retention pond along the highway. The highway tree line is cleaned. We're waiting for Minnesota Power to remove power poles along the highway and enter into the facility. They have to relocate that to the north side of the property. But the retention pond is established. It's kind of hard to tell, but that light sandy soil, that's the retention pond is ready for grade. So start of this morning, we actually started removing out the asphalt road that goes into the facility. So we are now currently using the secondary road. So give you a real quick update on how things are going there. And one other quick note, in 2021, when we used our facility, we were having a roughly, we do our annual reports to the MPCA. Just to give you a real quick update, I did with Jeannie Givens after our breaking ground ceremony and gave her a walkthrough of the facility and how we changed and what we did. In 2021, we had a contamination rate of a 16.31%. So basically that affects our bottom line, and we actually are using material to the landfill instead of recycling. When I took over in 2022, we had just as we started into it, we got it lowered to 14.5%. So after our fully refurbishing our facility and the way it's transitioned and running now, I'm very happy to announce that in 2023, we supported to the MPCA on our annual report, we are down to 5.6% only in contamination. So that really increases our productivity and increases our net profits as we go and really reduces our contamination to our landfill. So I just wanted to say thank you for your support. But I was really impressed by the numbers. I was shooting for 8%, but we really got it down to really one of the lowest ones in the county. So I'm really happy with that. So just a really quick update for that.
With that,
thank you for the
thank you,
pictures.
Mike.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
That's
you
awesome.
and your staff.
You bet. They've done a great job.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to administration then.
Okay, and Sheriff Allen can kind of support me with this. This is an informational item that we wanted to note, and for the board to note that a special thank you goes out to Callie Jo Covert for her pivotal tip during a recent Amber Alert leading to the suspect's apprehension, and the Todd County Board of Commissioners Sheriff's Department expressing immense gratitude for her awareness, swift action, and dedication to community safety.
Absolutely. Mike, I don't know if you want to say a word or not, or?
I can, Madam Chair. The Amber Alert system has been going on for a lot of years now. It was built to take these critical incidents that are kidnappings or something we're looking for a suspect very quickly with the help of citizens. And typically we'll hear about it in the metro area or outstate, farther away from us, but this one just happened to be coming through our county and through the help of Ms. Colbert and also Shady's Midway, where they stopped and they called in shortly after. A citizen did able to apprehend someone who's been now charged with a double murder case. So without their open-mindedness of what was going on, without the Amber Alert, who knows what would have happened to the child that was in that car. So we're very grateful that she was there and law enforcement was informed as quickly as that was.
Yeah, a very special thank you from us as the board also to Callie. We really appreciate her stepping forward as a citizen. So, thank you.
Okay, and next item is also something that I'm working on, and that is there is a Sourcewell Community Impact Grant application. Representatives from Sourcewell were here recently to meet with Adam in Planning and Zoning and myself, just to make us aware that there was still a grant program that Todd County hadn't submitted for, and they highly encouraged us to apply for it, and that is the Community Impact Grant. It is a random grant, basically chosen out of a hat. About 20 awardees will be chosen in June. So I've started the application. The maximum amount you can apply for is $50,000. They encouraged us to apply for the maximum amount. I have asked our department heads for different items that are needed, and I have those listed on the grant application. I'm almost completed with it. I'm going to be sending it down to Sourcewell just to review it before the deadline of May 29th. And the grant requires the County Board of Commissioners to pass a resolution that will go with the application to authorize the submission, and the Auditor Treasurer's Office to act as the fiscal agent if we are awarded the grant.
Okay.
So recommendations would be to adopt the attached resolution to authorize the Sourcewell Community Impact Funds grant application to be submitted, and to authorize the Auditor Treasurer's Office to act as fiscal agent.
I'll ask for a motion for authorizing to submit the Sourcewell Community Impact Grant application.
I'll make a motion to authorize.
Okay, motion by Noska. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. Thank you. Hi, Nellie.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So the one topic item I have today is, the background on here is the policy committee has worked to review and update the personnel policy, Article 3, Section 3.04, interviews. And then, Jolene, you want to go to the next page? So in work session, keep scrolling. Okay, last work session, the board recommended we change, additional members may be approved by the personnel committee upon request. So that was the one update made after work session last meeting. And so then a recommendation would be option 1 is approve the resolution. Option 2 would be do not approve the resolution. And the recommendation is to approve the attached resolution for the adoption of changes to the Todd County Personnel Policy, Article 3, Section 3.04.
Okay, with that, I'll ask for a motion for the change to the personnel policy to update section 3.04.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Denny, second by Nazca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
And with that, we will be going into a closed session. The commissioners will hold a closed session pursuant of Minnesota Statute 13D.05 subdivision 3C3 to develop or consider offer or counter offer for the purchase or sale of real or personal property. With that, the time is 10:17 and we'll be going into closed session. Okay. I will ask for a motion to reopen the board meeting. The time is 10:37.
I'll motion to reopen.
Motion by Noska to reopen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carries. The board meeting is now open. And I will just make a comment that after our discussion, there was no further discussion to move forward with. With that, we'll go into standing reports. Auditor Treasurer?
Madam Chair, if I may interrupt, sorry about that, but I would like to ask to be excused.
Okay, at this time,
thank you.
Commissioner Nosko will be leaving.
Thank you.
My button on here. The only note from the Auditor Treasurer's Department is that candidate filing opened this morning at 8 a.m. for our county level offices and higher. And it will remain open until 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June the 4th. We will not be closed for business on Memorial Day to observe that holiday. There's different stipulations and rules depending on if it's a state or judicial or federal office, so please read the notices if you're interested in those positions. Any persons for a county level or a resident of Todd County for a state or judicial office can also file down in the auditor's office.
Okay, with that, County Attorney?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a couple of open positions in our office. We are reviewing candidates, conducting interviews, and hoping to be at full staff soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Coordinator?
This week, I participated in an overview orientation of Health and Human Services and just learned about the multitude of programs and fabulous work that is being done in the office. And then I actually participated in an employee appreciation walkthrough breakfast for Health and Human Services. So learned all about the programs there.
Thank you. We'll do Commissioner's report. Commissioner Newman?
Yes, Madam Chair. On the 7th, that night after our board meeting, I had public health in Staples. And then on the 8th, I had a department head meeting. And then that evening, Tri-County Public Health in Wadena. On the 9th, Water and Soil, Solid Waste. On the 10th, Rainbow Rider. On the 13th, Personnel. On the 14th, Douglas County Planning and Zoning meeting. Thursday, the 16th, Central Minnesota Council on Aging and Sartell, and then got to Sauk Center for the One Watershed, One Plan for the Sauk. Yesterday, I attended the CPT meeting in Morris, and tonight I'll be at the Sauk River Watershed meeting.
Okay. Commissioner Denny?
Nothing new to report from my normal meetings. I just noticed lately around the county, it's been really nice from north to south that we had a chance to do some traveling lately for farming. And I just cannot believe all the volunteers that are constantly cleaning up the ditches and just going nuts. The amount of bags of garbage people are getting up it's pretty impressive. So I was happy to see constant community involvement, and it's kind of happening all over. So I appreciate that. And keep taking care of our area. So.
Okay, thank you. The meetings I attended was, we had a public health meeting on the 7th, the annual Morrison Todd Wadena CHB meeting in Wadena, department head meeting, soil and water, Rainbow Rider personnel. On the 15th, we had the Friendly Rider and Wadena meeting. The 16th was Long Prairie Watershed meeting here. The 17th, we had a facility meeting. And yesterday, both Jackie and I were on the Zoom meeting with AMC. It was the first ever chair meeting for the region. And we did I brought up about the hiring of eligibility workers and the state plan of how they're making them jump through the hoops and how hard it is for the counties to do that. And Jackie also brought up the broadband and the need that we still have out here in Todd County. So With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting till June 4th.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting will be adjourned till June 4th, and then we'll start work session. You guys want a break or just go right into it?
I'll go right into it.
Okay, let's just go right into the work session then. Pheasants Forever. They're not here. They were. I wonder if they're outside.
Did you have that state statute? I take that over.
Oh. Is that it? This one?
Damn. Yeah.
Hello. Yes, we are.
Yeah, just make sure you turn your microphones on. I'm gonna step out of the way and let them take over here, but we got Josh, Deja, Saban, and Luke here for the Pheasants Forever update, and I think Josh has a PowerPoint, so I'll let you guys just take over.
Okay.
All right, yeah, so we kind of previously talked with the Personnel Committee about this position, and we thought maybe we would help bring
There's
some
a
clarity.
terrible echo.
Yeah. Let's try that one, thank you. To what this position is. So I have a little quick blurb, and then I'm handing it over to Josh. So this is not anything you guys don't know. In all rural areas north of the Twin Cities, there is increases in absentee landowners. We also have a large amount of residential landowners reaching retirement age who have invested their blood, sweat, and livelihoods into their properties and want to see their properties maintained as natural spaces. With this comes a demand on the county and local government services for assistance to do so. And the farm biologist position has been, in the past, a valuable asset to Todd County landowners with front-runner positions run by Saban Adams and Luke Toma in the past. They have assisted landowners with restoration plantings, tree plantings, natural habitat creation, grassland planting, grazing easements, pollinator plantings, for example. And I just returned kind of as a sideline from my son's wedding, so I haven't been in office, and I had an email from a commissioner asking how we may work with solid waste in creating a pollinator planting. Of course, our connections and resources to people such as the farm bill biologist would enable us to assist the county in this measure. When Luke Toma left the farm bill biologist position a few years back, there was a gap in funding and availability, and it was not until very recently that the need and the option to return this position locally has come up. We are asking for Todd County support in returning this valuable position to the people of Todd County with the following understandings. Number one, this is not a Todd County position, nor will this position be on the county payroll. Number two, this position is not housed in a Todd County building. Number three, this position is paid for by Pheasants Forever with match dollars from local organizations and typically the county. Match we would be asking from the county at the next work session would be about $4,000, for example. Todd SWCD has already built this into their budget. The position fits in with the Todd County Comprehensive Plan, specifically under Guiding Principle Number 1, page 34, protect, preserve, and enhance the county's natural resources, including agriculture and forest land, recreation and open space, scenic areas, etc., by promoting land management practices that protect natural resources of the county and protect open spaces. Guiding principle number 2, page 34 through 35, is protect the quality and use of surface water through programs such as water planning processes, lake associations, and watershed districts through supporting the creation of conservation easements that have a variety of timeframes, limits 8, 20, 50, 100, perpetual, and promote their use to protect rural land resources in Todd County, and to work with state organizations and federal agencies to establish conservation easements. Last, guiding principle number 4, page 36, is to promote the use, conservation, and preservation of forest resources, encourage landowners to increase and enhance wildlife habitat in the county. So that's my little kind of introduction to the need and the purpose and the want. And then I'm going to hand this over to Josh Palmier.
Thank you. So my name is Josh Palmier. I'm the private lands manager here in Minnesota. I was a farm bill biologist for 9 years in Litchfield down in Meeker County. Now I'm the manager of the farm bill and private land staff. Who's running the little slides? Okay, so I just kind of give you a nod if I want you to slide down. Okay, thank you. Do you just want to go ahead, next one there? So I just want to give a broad overview of the farm bill biologist position and concept. In Minnesota, there's 18 farm bill biologists around the state. So, this position is not unique to Todd County. There's multiple other partners around Minnesota. And then, Midwest, the little map on the left, all the little pins is all the other private lands, farm bill biologist staff around the Midwest. And then nationwide, there's about 250 farm bill biologists. So, this position, it's been vetted. There's a lot of different partners involved in this position that we're looking for and to bring back to Todd County. So we've been talking about a farm bill biologist position. I'm not sure how many here were around when Luke and Sabin were in their positions, but essentially I just wanted to describe what is a farm bill biologist, and I took this right out of our agreement where our funding comes from. Basically, it's boots on the ground, side by side, working hand in hand with federal partners and state partners to do voluntary conservation. That's the goal of these positions. The funding comes from Natural Resource Conservation Service, NRCS, and then also state funds as well, income, and also the local partners funding as well, that local match. So essentially these landowners that come in, they have questions about what to do with their land, the goals for their land. And that's where the farm bill biologist comes in to help landowners figure out the maze of government programs to implement hopefully wildlife and water quality goals for their properties. Now this is a picture of just two of our farm bill biologist staff next to some signs of the government programs that are out there right now. This is just a small snapshot of some of the programs that are available to landowners. And these farm bill biologists are the Google of conservation programs. They should know everything that's out there and be able to help landowners figure out what's best for their properties. So every year we do annual reviews. And myself, I'm in Dassel, Minnesota. I don't physically live or work in the office with staff all over the state. So we rely on our partners to give feedback. How is this position doing? Are they doing their job? Are there any improvements that need to get made? So I just want to share what partners are saying about our farm bill biologist staff out there. So I'm just going to read from the partner feedback. So Aaron, the guy on the left with the orange baseball hat, Aaron juggles many balls in a very high workload county office in the CRP program. He communicates with my staff on progress and strives to meet the goals that the agency has put in place. Aaron looks for options and solutions for different scenarios, as we know that no option is a one-size-fits-all approach. He has a good attention to detail and informs us of issues that he discovers either out in the field or on aerial imagery. He possesses a strong work ethic that is demonstrated by his character. And then Brady, the guy with the cowboy hat, he's our grazing specialist. Two things I enjoy about working with Brady. One, he doesn't sugarcoat things. And he'll give his honest opinion, but does so professionally. And two, Brady is willing and eager to assist with grazing projects in any way possible. Gemma, the one in the middle, is very helpful with answering questions I have. She goes the extra mile for me and producers she works with. She's extremely knowledgeable. And then Nate, the guy with his back to us in the blue shirt, I appreciate Mr. Forr's understanding of native species and his ability to teach his knowledge into others. Additionally, his communication between agencies is superb and it's always a pleasure working alongside him. Then Laura on the right, she has very good technical skills together with a great person, and communication skills is a rare find. NRCS is very fortunate to have Laura assisting in Farm Bill program biology. So when these folks show up to a site, the typical site on the left, this could be gully erosion, it could be something dry, sand hills, could be a flooded site. They work with the landowner to figure out what's going on out there. Is there a technical assistance they can offer, or is it financial assistance through a program? And then that middle picture, year one, you can kind of see the rows. That's the native species that are planted out there. But then there's ragweed coming up. So the Farm Bill biologist will go out there and help the landowner figure out how to take care of these technical issues. And then the picture on the right, is year 5 of some good looking habitat, and to help the Farm Bill biologist will be out there helping to educate the landowners how to take care of this habitat for years to come. A little bit more about what the end result is of this work in Minnesota. It's a red-winged blackbird nest and a cattail slough. It's lance-leaf coreopsis, which is an earlier blooming flower that's good for the pollinators, and it's providing monarch habitat as well. So we also do a quarterly report where we encourage Farm Bill biologist staff to give a narrative of what they've been working on for the last the last quarter. And I just want to read the last couple sentences in Nate's report of the technical service that he's giving to landowners. He says, I've taken a more hands-on approach this year, even flagging treatment areas to avoid unnecessary damage to cover, especially for young prairie plantings that are a little more sensitive to disturbance. Go ahead. Big picture, what we're doing in Minnesota, we're reaching out to 3,200 different landowners, impacting 30,000 acres Minnesota-wide. We have a precision ag and conservation specialist. We've got grazing specialists, prescribed burn coordinators, all working together to help landowners do conservation work on their properties. And with that, I'll open up to any questions you guys have.
Any questions?
Yes, Madam Chair. Out of those 30,000 acres, how many were turned over to the DNR?
All of those acres are in private ownership. That is land that the Farm Bill biologists, grazing specialists, precision ag and conservation specialists have worked on to help landowners implement their own goals. So none of that land in those 30,000 acres was turned over to public ownership.
That's not the role of this position.
No, this position's for helping voluntary conservation on private lands.
Okay, I guess I got a question. You started out by saying this is not a county position, and a lot of the funding comes from other sources. With that, why are you why are you here? You must be asking for the county to help support this in some way, or means, financial,
Yes, so in the past, they've always had like a county match for Sabin and a county match for Luke. And so that county match has proven to be about $4,000. So we're very transparent. We don't want to be, it is kind of in our budget already. We've just left it in our budget, hoping for this position to come back. We just want you to be aware that this is here and that we do sign, there's an agreement to sign.
Okay.
A support agreement.
When you say in our budget, you're referring to soil and water budget?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And FSA, what role do you play with the FSA office then? Are you housed next to the FSA, I would presume?
Yeah, it's in the USDA building is where
Yes.
this position would sit,
Okay,
sitting with the NRCS side of that building.
okay. Okay, that's,
So if I may add,
yes, absolutely.
they would be operating under,
Here, take.
They would be operating under federal computer, and they'd have our link pass, our federal link pass, and using our federal vehicles for their visits with landowners. So that's where our NRCS or federal match comes into the partnership with it too, as we provide the housing and then transportation.
Okay. And the counties or soil and water would be just that $4,000 that we were
Yes,
talking?
yep,
That
and there
would
is
be
an
that match.
agreement that they're asked to sign. Is it the county?
Yeah,
that signs?
it's a local partners agreement that either the Soil and Water Board, or depends on if this, or if maybe it's the county board that would decide. I'm not sure what would happen in Todd County, but each county around the state operates a little bit uniquely.
And ours is too, because soil and water is part of the
County.
over
Yep.
them.
And in
over
the
county
past-
umbrella, yeah.
Help me, Saban, but in the past, that agreement has been made with the county, just
Okay.
because we are under you.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions?
How long is this job contracted for?
So the Farm Bill biologist position has been around for over 20 years. We have different grants that last from 3 to 5 years in length. So it's part of my job and the state coordinator's job to keep those future grants going so we can keep people employed and hopefully have them be employed with Pheasants Forever, hopefully as a Farm Bill biologist and make it a lifelong career. I was a Farm Bill biologist for 9 years, so the funding for my position went through different iterations, but it kept me employed as long as I was just happy to keep working, so.
Deja, is that match, is it for 2 positions or 4 and 4, or is it?
No,
One-
it's just
one
one
position.
position. Yep.
And that position would remain viable as long as you have federal or state money supporting that, correct?
Correct. So if for some reason we didn't get future grants, then I would lose my job and this position would potentially lose their job. So I'd like to keep my job going.
Okay,
So how often do the agreements need to be signed?
yeah.
With every farm bill?
Every 3 to 5 years. We have different lengths of it, different agreements. So right now, I think we have 4 different grants funding all of the 20-plus positions for our organization. But every year, we do a local partners agreement, just so, and we like it every year, so we have at least a communication at least once a year guaranteed to make sure that the Farm Bill biologist is doing a good job and the partnership is still working. And it's another good touch point for everybody.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just have one, but this doesn't pertain to this. It's with the Pheasants Forever people. Why do you guys allow Pheasants Forever, allow the DNR to burn? Now, I was going up to Staples the other night, and up on County 11, they were burning a wildlife management area. About the same time, they were burning one down in my district, down in West Union. And right now is the prime nesting for pheasants. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me for them to come in and torch it when they're nesting.
Would you like me to take that?
Sure, go ahead.
Good morning. Saban Adams, Minnesota State Coordinator with Pheasants Forever. So the prescribed fire, the way to look at it is we're giving up, well, first of all, to address your question, we don't really have the authority to tell the DNR, don't burn your land. It's ultimately their decision.
I understand that, but you could share your concerns.
But when you look at a prescribed fire, you have to look at the cost benefit. You're going to lose some nests that year. But, you know, particularly in a county like Todd County or any of these counties along the forest prairie transition, you quickly see grasslands turn into forests. And for instance, pheasants are grassland nesting birds. They're not forest birds. Once it turns into a forest, you won't have pheasants. If you can get a prescribed fire through there, you can keep the trees at bay and keep it as a grassland habitat, which is beneficial to those species. So if you burn it in one spring, you may lose some population that year, but the benefits in subsequent years of having that grassland maintained as quality grasslands outweigh that one particular year's loss. I think they would like to do more fall burns. I know that's a thing that gets talked about a lot. It's just a lot harder because we're usually in, it seems like lately, in a drought of some kind, and they're standing crops, and it's a lot harder to burn in the fall than it is to burn in the spring.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. With that, the next step would be bringing it to the board meeting?
Yes, so we would be bringing that agreement to your board meeting. We will, as it is written right now, it is the agreements with the county, and we
Okay.
would support it.
So does it need to go through soil and water? I guess what board meeting do you want to come to? You want to come to the first one in June or the second board meeting in June?
Whenever works in you guys' schedule.
Yeah, what would you recommend, Barb?
That's why I wanted to know if it had to go through soil and water or not.
It doesn't have to, they don't have to approve it, but I can certainly, if you're more comfortable
Because it would
having
be
it.
the 4th of June or the 18th of June.
Right. Does either one matter? Then we could do the 18th then, and then,
Okay.
yeah, and then
Because then
everybody.
you'd have that through the soil and water at the same time.
Yes, yep, we'll do that first, and then you guys will
Okay.
maybe feel comfortable with that.
Okay, so we'll bring it forward the June 18th then.
Yep, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, and thank you for your time.
Yeah,
I know you
thank you
guys
for
are
your
busy.
Thank you, guys.
Hello, Adam.
Hello again.
And I just asked Adam to put the feedlot back on work session because we're still waiting for some permits coming from the state, and I don't know if they came back or what
Yeah.
it is on that.
Right, so Jackie actually pointed it out to me, so I reached out. It requires the review of the Department of Ag and MPCA as the feedlot. They say the owners of the 70-20 rules. I did get an immediate response from Department of Ag. They said they had no issues with it, move along. I got a response from MPCA that they were going to send it on to somebody else, and I checked in with Courtney yesterday, haven't heard back on that. But then with that, you said there might be some last remaining questions or comments or anything, so I'm here to try to address those. What I included in, what Jolene included for me is what would be the final product. You can see that section 911E, maybe it is. Yes, I removed that from time to time statement as you had requested. So what you see there would be exactly what would be adopted. But hopefully before the June, what did you say, for the 4th meeting, we would then have that response from MPCA. The response I got so far was relatively vague. They said they were gonna send it on and then download it into their Tempo, which is their record retention software. It didn't actually say they were gonna give us a response to like a thumbs up, thumbs down. So I will try to get that between now and June 4th.
Okay, any other questions for Adam?
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay, that's
All right.
fine, and then you'll just put it on whenever you get your
Yeah,
information
we'll
back.
move ahead at the appropriate time and I'll have those responses prepared for, hopefully for June 4th, and I'll stay on them to try to keep this moving forward.
Okay, thank you,
All right,
Adam.
thank you.
Lisa?
Good morning. So I'm here today just to give you guys an update on our MIS department, since I don't think you guys have gotten one in front of the board for quite some time. So what we have on the screens here is just different areas that the MIS department works on. And I'll just maybe give you a few things on some of these, just to kind of let you know kind of what we're doing on day-to-day and in our projects and stuff. So just last year, we've had just over 3,100 tickets. So that's phone calls, people walking into our office, emails coming through. We're about at 1,045 tickets so far in 2024. We're about averaging about 250 tickets per month for the last 16 months. In the last 18 months, we've had 157 personnel action tickets, so terminations, transfers, hires, which takes up a lot of our time, creating users, getting their systems set up, getting profiles set up on different systems and stuff like that. So that's been just with all the turnover, that's been a big, where we've been really busy. Then under the hardware and software, our biggest thing is our patching and vulnerability management. Patching, everything needs a patch, everything needs an update. We try our best to do this after hours, so we're not having as much downtime. And it's very time consuming, and with some of our compliance issues, it has to be done within a certain time limit. We've had about 60 PC laptop replacements since the first of the year. And then just on our planning, right now we have our PC laptop stuff on a 5-year rotation. I'm working on getting our infrastructure, our firewalls, our switches, our storage, also on some sort of rotation. We haven't really had that in the past. The problem with that is that equipment's very expensive. So I'm really trying to work in the next 2 years to get that to where we have that budgeted for and on a rotation. We have a number of audits that we have to do. Our biggest one is usually our IRS FTI, which is with the eligibility workers, and then our FBI security policy. There's many, many controls and things that we have to follow. Just as a reference, our FBI CJIS policy is 225 pages long. That is just the controls that we have to have in place to be compliant with those requirements. And that is for law enforcement, county attorney, and our corrections department. Security, well, it's cybersecurity, so just trying to keep up with new threats and everything up to date and patched is a challenge. There's people getting hit with ransomware every day. So I'm just praying that we never have to face that or go through any of that. Getting staff to take their awareness training is really helpful. That's our number one. Staff people are the number one, I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, not a problem, but just staff clicking on something is what we're really, really concerned with, because that's where most stuff happens. Getting our backup and stuff backed up nightly and getting it air gapped and off-site, just to prevent if we do have an incident that we have our data that we can get back. So any questions on any of that? Unfortunately, with MIS, our back-end infrastructure, our licensing, our software is not visible to the public, which kind of, so people don't see it. We can't put it in a parade, this is where your money's going. So it is just a back-end thing that affects all departments, and it's really just not visible to the public. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there, and everything is very expensive. There's not much we can do anymore to have a license or a piece of equipment that you don't have maintenance on, or that you don't pay a subscription yearly on. So some of that stuff has been kind of difficult to try to budget for, because you just don't know what's going to go up in price. Some of the projects we're working on the new website design. We're getting a SIM, which is a security information event management tool, for all of our logging, which is required by the FBI and the BCA. So we'll be getting that in place so we can look at logs weekly and just make sure that everything is running like it's supposed to on our network. We're in the middle of hosting our iSeries, which I hope in the next month we'll get that up and live. Yeah, so that's all I really have.
Okay.
So I'm trying for things that haven't really been budgeted in the past to try to get them on that schedule. Like I said, it's just things come up and you didn't really count on it, and now you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So
We had our last AMC meeting, and I see Jackie sitting there too. We had a individual that worked, I believe, for the FBI, was it? And with the cybersecurity, And as county commissioners, he asked if any county would volunteer. And one commissioner stuck up his hand and it took him about 2 seconds and he was totally in their whole county
Yep.
website. It was unbelievable.
Yes. Yep.
I think it was real eye-opener to all of us sitting there. We couldn't believe it. Yeah.
It's very scary out there right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we can get our staff to get trained and, I mean, they really are our weakest link. So
Yeah.
I think it was 9 out of 10 ransomware attacks are from somebody clicking on a link.
So MCIT has been putting on some seminars on this. I think the last one was in St. Cloud a week or two ago. Some of the commissioners at CPT yesterday highly recommended to send our staff down to these MCIT seminars. And a couple of the counties that had been hacked, minimum 5 weeks to get back up.
Yes.
Otherwise, it down.
Yep. And part of that is they could have the backup, but they don't have the infrastructure to put it back on.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And I went to that too, and I guess I didn't realize it was more for administrators, commissioners. Otherwise, I would have really encouraged, to attend.
Yeah.
So,
They said staff should highly go. You're in.
yes. Yep.
Okay.
Lisa, do you want to, also the website update, we're getting closer and closer to that too.
Yep, we're looking at the design right now. There was a couple changes that we may make. And then once we get the design figured out, then we can start on the content. And that will probably take the longest for what people want on their site and how they want it to act and work and all that kind of stuff. So
Who's sitting on that committee? Do you know?
Bob is for a
Okay.
commissioner. Yep. Yep.
I think Jackie?
Yep. Jackie.
I tried to get there, I didn't get there the
That's
other
okay,
day,
that's okay.
but Chris Kasubi in our office, she wanted to participate as well.
Yep, John sent Sonia from County Attorney. We have a couple from HHS.
Okay.
So,
Jackie, anybody from, are you sitting on it or?
nope. And Jenna. Jenna Peterson, yep. Yep.
Okay. Okay,
Yep. Oh,
good.
and then Mike from Solid Waste was, I know he attended the first one.
Okay.
But I'm sure he's pretty busy now, so.
Okay, no, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Mitch?
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm just here to give a brief update on the current condition of the parking lot and the house purchase across the road. We recently finished up with our bid to buy auction. I'm just gonna run it through a couple numbers here. For a total, we did sell and are in the process of moving the non-brick house, the Herdering house, I'm gonna call it, and the bigger shed. The other items that were there were valued in a different way. So the windows and doors were taken out, little sheds were sold as well. And that came to around $3,800 for a rough total that I received from Mark Moen, who was in charge of the auction. So that's presently where we're at. The next steps that we are in coordination with is I did an abatement follow-up on the houses that will be remaining. I contacted MAAC, which is an abatement company, to come in. They gave me an estimated value of $4,800 to remove the asbestos and contaminated products from that house. And then I came to our last facilities meeting, which was last week Friday, and requested to get a local excavation in because we're gonna have to deal with, we're gonna have to deal with the basement on the house that will be moved, also the concrete, which was in place for the shed and the rest of the little shed in the house that was utilized in a different fashion. So I actually met with one of those contractors this morning, and I have a meeting for one this afternoon to go ahead and remove that. What we're looking at doing for now is removing the contaminated concrete, the housing, those type of things, dealing with the debris, flattening it off, compacting the soil where it needs to be, for a temporary parking location for as of now. So they'll be graveling portions of it off. Obviously, we have to fill in the holes of the basement. We'll be removing that concrete as well. Minnesota Power has been contacted. They already have removed all the power from those places. The CenterPoint Energy, which is our gas company, they have been contacted as well, and we are in the process of removing the line. That's a little bit tricky because they run the gas line all the way to the side of the house, and there is no shut off. So that gets a little bit tricky that way. They have to come in and do some different things. It's not a simple shut off as far as that makes sense. So that we're waiting on them to do that part of it, but that's where we're at with it. After the houses are demoed, next step would be probably professional services and a design of the lot itself. So I just wanted to give that brief update. If there's any questions.
I guess at our facility meeting, my suggestion is to remove the houses, get a gravel on there so we can at least use that parking, hopefully during the rock wall renovation, and then look at tarring.
Correct. Yeah, we're just looking to get it leveled and used as of
being
now.
able to use it.
Was speaking with the excavator I spoke with this morning for our potential tarring project. There's going to be quite a bit of gravel and debris that'll have to come out for the tarring to get down to the curb and those type of things. But we'll leave that on to the design experts. That's something that's, because we're gonna have to deal with stormwater, curb and gutter, those curb, those type of things. So we'll leave that up to them to design it for the best flow and the best product we can get.
When is the end date for removing everything from that lot then?
So they have until, for the moving of houses, they have until June 15th to move them. I sent off an email to the individual that has purchased the house and the garage that are actually getting moved. I haven't had a response date. Now, there is a little bit of third-party communication, right? Because they'll be using a moving company to do that. My suggestion is if we push that date to try and do the best they can, but unfortunately, it's under somebody else's hands. So we'll hope for that date. If I have any updates, I will certainly share that with the board complete so that they know if they're not removed by that point, that they will be removed as soon as possible. But that was what I stressed to the owner of those buildings, that we'd like to see them moved sooner than later. Yep. Again, until the auction is over, they don't, really put those things into place, so.
Okay, and as far as the person taking down the brick house, he'll be able to?
Yeah, so they'll take down the brick house, they'll remove everything, remove debris. We're just gonna have to deal with sidewalk cleanups, the house cleanup, we just want to get it flat for the most part and usable, so we can drive vehicles on there, maybe store items if we need to, while the rock wall project's going on, those type of things, so.
But he'll be able to do it yet this summer? I mean,
Yes,
it's not gonna be
yep,
something that's gonna be put off for...
It will be able to be done yet this summer. Their timeline is unknown until they obviously receive the project, then we'll know. If we get days like today, it definitely forgoes a quick timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll also be removing the trees at the same time that are on the lot. Yes,
Yeah.
we'll be doing the best that we can to do that, simply because we have to, right, to move them. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way it works.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions?
Questions?
If not, we'll wait to hear back from you, Mitch. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Mitch.
Good morning. The cold air just started. You must be getting late or something.
We'll try and move it along for you. It's been a long morning already, I bet. So Catherine, just handing out the job description as you accepted this morning through the consent agenda. Mary Ray Haugen has decided to retire after 36 and a half years. So congratulations to her, but it's quite a void for us to try and fill those shoes in a short amount of time. So we've met with the personnel committee, and we thought, it would be best to start, we started with them and then to come here, as that is what our process is. But WIC coordinator job description, we brought that here for you today, as that is something that we are going to need to fill the position with. Mary Ray Haugen, her official title is an OS?
Assistant WIC nutritionist. She was a grade 6. She was grandfathered into the WIC program with her dietitian tech degree. But WIC required and has required for almost 10 years now that a WIC coordinator needs to be either a registered dietitian, a licensed dietitian, or a registered nurse. So that means this is a new position compared to what we previously had Mary doing. Brooklyn Levine had previously sort of filled our WIC coordinator position because she is a public health nurse, because that was required, that our breastfeeding coordinator, WIC coordinator have those qualifications. But we see this as truly, this will be our new WIC coordinator. Brooklyn will then be able to do hopefully more of our public health nurse work and less WIC work. So it is going to change the pay grade. Nellie did say she'd look and speak with Gallagher about it, but scope and complexity is different. So Mary Ray's done an amazing job, but we need to move our WIC program a little bit more forward. I feel like there's a lot more that can be done, and things are changing with requirements, with working with providers, with medical formula needs. You know, we have a very high-risk population in Todd County as well, and as our numbers continue to climb, we have about 750 participants in our WIC program. It's the highest it's been in 10 years, which is wonderful, but growing issues with our population, and about 40% are Spanish speaking. So that makes it challenging at times too. So Wadena County just updated their WIC coordinator last summer. So I did beg, borrow, and steal some of their language, but I thought it looked really good. I did run this by the Department of Health as well, and they said it looked good. So you'll see in there kind of the job duties and responsibilities. And then the minimum education and experience is, again, the state wants us to hire a registered dietitian. That's what we'll be looking for. And if we can't get a registered dietitian, then a licensed dietitian, then a registered nurse can fill that position. So it's challenging because as we all know, the job market is not great out there right now, but you never know. Wadena County was fortunate to find a registered dietitian. I hope we are as well. Questions?
Pay at Wadena County, what is?
The pay range, they pay a little bit less. Grade 12, step 1 starts at $31.52. The current Mary Ray, she was a grade 6, but she's been here a long time. She was making $28.15 an hour, just salary, not fringe. Wadena pays between $25 and $30 an hour, but I will say $25 to $30 an hour.
5 to 30, okay.
I think that's a little below market, to be honest.
Yeah, and Nellie gave this to us, that Clay County pays $28.80 to $40.53.
Mm-hmm.
2880 to
40.
40, that's what I thought I
Yeah.
heard, okay.
Right.
And I don't, Nellie's not here right now, but Jackie, do you know, have we got contact with Gallagher yet, or?
We actually have a meeting with them this afternoon, so we're going to be bringing this one forward to them. So a public health, like additional education piece on is not required, The right? public health nurse certificate? No, it's not required. Currently, our PHNs they have a 4-year nursing degree, and then they have a PHN certificate. That's not required for
And that's a
the WIC
grade
coordinator.
12, where
That's a
our
grade
RNs
12
are
as well.
grade 10. But what I did ask Catherine to look at as we were sitting back here, waiting to come up is does the state require a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree with the registered nurse? And that will make a difference. So we'll just see we'll kind of do some more work on that.
The sad thing, it makes a difference of who's eligible to apply
Yes.
also, because it cuts our applicants down so far.
You are correct,
That
100%.
it's really hard, so.
And
I
it's
mean,
really
a
hard.
double-edged sword both ways.
Right. And it's hard to find a registered dietitian or licensed dietitian. So that market is even smaller than it is to find an RN versus a 2 or 4-year or, even a PHN.
Okay.
So, it does limit us.
I know.
Nellie,
Yeah.
hello, come on up. Glad you could come.
Yeah, I got a few more responses back from other counties too on wages. So Freeborn County, they have a public health nurse / WIC coordinator. And they're $36.47 to $48.63. Their minimum requirements are more significant than ours. And then LeSueur County has a registered dietitian / WIC coordinator, and they have $31.91 to $44.62. And then Isani County has a WIC nutritionist, that's 2535 to 3275.
Which Mary Ray was.
It'd be hard
then-
to know what the quality, some people call it different things.
And then they have a WIC coordinator that was 2848 to 3680.
You need to have at least one of your WIC people be a WIC coordinator. Underneath them, they can have some of those lesser roles, but yeah.
Yeah, and some of them had more requirements than we did, but that was what I gathered from other
Okay,
counties.
and that's what Jackie was just asking, if we need a 2 or a 4-year degree.
And that's something we can ask the state to clarify.
To
as well.
clarify, yeah,
All the other counties that I've seen so far are a bachelor's degree.
they're all 4-year degrees then.
Yeah, I'm almost positive it's a bachelor or a
Okay.
master's degree.
Which is why we could then have that be a PHN, because it's a 4-year degree with a certificate, so. And the certificate you get at the time of graduation, it's just a matter of applying for the license.
Trying to find someone,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is $30, so it's virtually the same position as a 4-year degree.
Okay. And you guys say this afternoon you're going to be visiting with Gallagher, so we'll
Yep,
probably
we
have
have
a
a- we have a
little bit
follow-up
more
meeting with
discussion
them.
about this, but then we'll kind of plan on bringing it, to the next board meeting then?
I would appreciate bringing it to the 4th. We do have
or to
someone
the
we'll be
4th.
contracting with, and we'll be
that's-
bringing that contract as well on the 4th.
What we wanted to share is that, as Mary Ray has done on the 31st, bless her, we do need to fill those shoes June 1st. So we are training that we're starting with that contract as soon as we can get them in the door, to get them trained and get them covering those clients so they can get their benefits. So we just want that to be as seamless as we can as we move forward, so.
Jackie, who are you contracting with?
Her name's Mari Willie. Wadena County contracted with her. She's out of Park Rapids. She currently does WIC for Hubbard County.
Okay,
So she already knows WIC. So she'll be covering a day a week. Brooklyn will be covering 3 days a week. And then Wadena County, their WIC coordinator will be covering our Staples clinics. So we're doing the best we can.
And we'll run that through John prior
The new,
to
contract we
bringing
will.
that to board to make sure that it's all the
okay, and
I's
that
are
contract
dotted.
starts June 1st then? Is that
She
correct?
actually,
Go
well,
ahead.
she won't be here today. We've got an issue with computers and access. So June 10th will be her first day. She'll be coming here. She'll mostly be covering Mondays.
Okay,
So we'll probably set that date as soon as we can, just so we can get them in and trained and on our systems and ready to go. With bringing it to board on the 4th, June 4th, I think is the
did you
next
see
board date.
anything else with the application or the new job description, Nellie?
No, the only other thing I was gonna ask Jackie and Catherine is, like, some of these other counties they looked at, like, they had like a certified lactation specialist, like, as some of the minimum requirements is that.
No,
As a breastfeeding coordinator, all of our PHNs are certified lactation counselors. They can receive that training later.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be worried. We require that with our PHNs too, but they can be hired and then do that training after the fact.
Okay.
I worry the more that we add on for.
It's hard.
It's gonna be really, really hard to fill those shoes. It's gonna be hard just to get somebody in the door with a license.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, because it's kind of,
Preferred would be okay, but required, I think, is what's gonna help
Okay.
us to.
any other questions? And we'll probably have this visited about before the meeting then and make sure that everything's in order then.
Correct.
So at this
Then
point,
we'll do the pay
I'm
grade
sorry.
at the same time,
Yes.
Jackie, too, once we have that conversation this afternoon.
So we have some work to do yet, but our
Yeah.
plan is to bring the contract aboard at the next board meeting.
Okay.
With John's approval to move forward. But also, hopefully, we can be ready to post this position, be okay to bring that forward to board as well at that same meeting, so we can get this rolling and posted once approved, if approved.
Can we bring that, Nellie? Can we approve the job description and then bring it to the same board meeting to hire? Should be okay, right?
So once the job description is posted, or once it's approved, and then, and there's a vacancy, if personnel gives the okay to post, once the job description is approved, then I can have Chris mock up the posting and we can release it after board has approved the job description.
So we could do it at the same board meeting. On the 4th, approve this and then approve to advertise for it.
You wouldn't have to approve to advertise at the board meeting.
Okay. Even if it's a new position? This
Well,
is this
maybe that's what
considered
we'll
a new
ask you then.
prescription?
How would you like to see it? Would you like to see the job description come in as an ad? And then another BAF to add the position?
Yeah, because.
So you want to, you want them to do a BAF to eliminate the assistant WIC and then
Sure.
to add.
This one, and then,
And then once that new position is approved, we can post for it.
That's correct.
Yep.
okay, perfect.
I think it just brings a real clear.
Yep, it sure does.
So we'll
we're
eliminate the
doing.
assistant WIC nutritionist, and we will add the new
Yep,
WIC coordinator position with the new job description.
right.
In one, yeah, right.
Okay,
Okay. Very good.
thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Clear as mud.
Yeah, we got it. That's good.
So we'll probably do 3 BAFs.
We'll just,
Eliminate one to add, and then.
yeah, you know, the thing of it, if this is considered a brand-new position, then it has to be.
With adding the position, you should be able to put the job with the new position.
Okay.
Just put it all on as the new position with the job description. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
So that the ambulance come out the other night and the neighbor.